Welcome back to Llama Mama Kayla's Yarn Tube. I'm Kayla. Thanks for stopping by and visiting with me today while I work on this granny rectangle sweetheart blanket. Hope I said all that correctly. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and it's now the weekend, so I hope you have a great weekend. We are expecting rain, rain, rain all weekend long. So, yeah, no plans to do anything except crochet, to do some doll photography, and just hang out with Big Daddy, because he has been working late every day, and I've been missing him really bad, because I've been here by myself like all the time this past week. And he leaves at like 7 a.m. and he's been getting home at like 7:30, 8:30, 9:30 last night. What time did he get home tonight? About 8:30 or 8:45. It was close to 9. But yeah, I've been missing him, so I'll be spending some time with him this weekend. So this is the blanket I'm working on throughout February. And I'm coming on every day and just working a little bit on the blanket while we chat, because in the comments of this video, you guys are leaving questions in the comments, and so the next day I come back to the video and I answer those questions in the next video. So yeah, so feel free to leave a question below in the comment section under this video, and I will try my best to answer it in the next video. I'm keeping a running list of the questions now, so I don't have to like scroll on the screen to find the questions. I have them wrote down. So yeah, anyway, maybe that'll help things go smoother. Alright guys, so I'm working on this blanket. It's a granny rectangle, and I know the traditional way is that you make a chain and then you crochet around that chain. And I do have a video showing how to do that. It's linked in the description box below. But I also have a video showing, this method also. And I think this is the third video in this little series, so you can easily go back to the first one and catch up if you want to. Number 2 video was pretty long, so pack breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And some projects. Okay, so anyway, what I did was I made a granny square, a granny square, and a granny square, and I single crocheted those granny squares together, and then I just started like a granny stitch blanket around it, okay? So it is making it into a granny rectangle blanket. And this is the colors I picked, and I picked these just on a quick whim. I went in my yarn room and just quickly picked some colors. It's not even the colors I was thinking of. I was thinking I was gonna do like some pink, red, and white. That's the colors I was going for. Very basic. I got in my yarn room and I picked some pinks, and I had a red, and I found a white, and then I saw this yarn and I was like, that's the yarn I'm gonna use. So the red looked a lot like this, because this looks red on camera to me, but it is actually fuchsia. But so I decided against the red, and then I pulled out a gray to tie in with this, because I was thinking that was gray, but it's really more lavender. But I think the gray kind of just ties in with everything and gives another color. And I ended up picking this darker purple to go with it, because the fuchsia was kind of dark, and so I just grabbed that darker purple to go with that. Now, as I get going on this blanket, it's going to get more random, and I may add in like some lavender also. I think I even have a couple of different shades of pink that I could throw in here. Besides these 3, I think there was another shade of pink that I had. Maybe I had 2 more different shades that I could easily throw those in here. But Anyway, this is what I got going so far. And I was thinking I was going to do the blanket more random, but last night as I was making the video and just going, I just picked up the pink and did it. So I think what I'm going to do, and this is just me thinking right now, because it would get random because of this fact. I have enough, I could do, you know, probably another few rows of just a single row of pink. I have enough that I could do a single row of that right now and a single row of this, and I have enough to do a single row of that and these two and this. But as the blanket gets bigger, I would run out of this or this, right? And that's when the blanket's going to get more random. I was thinking previously, I was kind of thinking it would just start off random and go from there. But I'm thinking now I might just go ahead and do the single rows of these colors just to kind of repeat this part again coming out. And then after that, get a little more random. Because I really didn't want it to be so predictable. I don't know. I just wanted it to be fun and, what's the word I'm looking for? Not planned out. I didn't want it to be like perfect. I'm anti-perfect. So I wanted it to be more random. So it is going to get random. Just right now, I think this is what I'm going to do, is repeat these 5 rows once again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Probably repeat like this 7 rows and then just start, you know, like after that, whatever color comes up, I might do a row and a half of that. It would be easier if I went ahead and made pre-balls, and that way I'm not determining how many rounds of that color I do. It would just be until that ball of yarn runs out. So I think at that point I will make a lot 1 ounce balls. I mean, I'm not going to weigh them, but I know about what a size of 1 ounce ball looks like. It's just a little ball. So I think I will just make little balls like that. And they all won't be the same size because I'm not going to weigh them. And it'll just kind of be eyeballing it. So they all won't. And plus each row is going to get bigger. So the same size ball wouldn't do the same amount all the way through anyway. Okay, so we got that out of the way. What I'm doing, what's going on, my crazy thoughts. Is that I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just enjoying crocheting, okay? My favorite projects are projects where I just do whatever I feel like needs to come next, okay? I like to just let the yarn speak to me sometimes and just do whatever I feel like would look good next to it. So I'm just going to add on this color and get to crocheting while I answer some of you guys' questions. I went through and wrote down all the questions. I didn't write out every single word of the questions. I made little notes to give me topics and just to, you know, let me know what y'all are interested in hearing about and things like that. Somebody, you know, asked a question about when I was little, what did I want to be when I grew up? So I just kind of jotted down dream job. Just, you know, instead of writing out the whole question, I just do little things like that, write out little things like that so I can talk about that. And I've got a snag on my thumb. Okay. So anyway, I'm using a 6mm J hook because that's the size hook I like. But, you know, if you decide you want to do a blanket kind of like this or any kind of blanket, please use whatever size hook you want to use. And if anybody's going to try to do this, if you have scrap yarn or yarn stash, use what's in your scrap yarn, your scrap balls, your floppies. you know, I wouldn't go out and buy yarn for this project unless that's you know, what you want to do. I'm using all different brands of yarn. There's Red Heart, Craft Smart. I love this yarn. Red Heart, Mainstay. That one's a Mainstay, and that's a Craft Smart. So I'm just using whatever yarn I had in my yarn room. And so, yeah, that's what's going on. Alright, guys. So, just to answer some of you guys' questions, let's see. So the first one is, oh, and I want to say this before I get started. Thank you to all the non-crocheters out there who watch my channel. I just really appreciate that. That just kind of blows my mind that you don't even crochet, you don't play with yarn, or, you know, some people do knit, but a lot of people don't do anything with yarn, and they come and watch my channel, and I just want to say I appreciate that so much. Like, I tell Jody all the time, you know, like, this lady is watching my channel and she don't even crochet or anything, and that just blows my mind. I gotta get rid of the snag on my thumb, but it just blows my mind, and I don't know, it just, that really does mean a lot to me. Okay, I'm looking for my little, it was in a drawer and it's about tore up. This come from Dollar Tree a long time ago, but I still see them in there sometimes. Number 1 is missing, but I need something kind of more sandpaper-ish anyway. A fingernail file would work fine too. This is a block where you use one, and you actually use these on top of the nail. But right now I just need to smooth out the snag. I don't know if I have a, and that might be making a lot of noise on the screen, and I'm so sorry if it is. Turn your volume down for just a minute. I was looking to see if I had a file or something right here. Hold on one second. Let's see. Maybe that got rid of it. Okay, so, yes, thank you to all you guys. Okay, so the first question that I've got wrote down here is, what was my dream job growing up, and what did I want to be? I don't know. I wanted to be a mom and a wife, and I don't know. I liked animals, so maybe at one time, I don't know about thinking about being a vet, but wanted to do something with animals at one time, maybe. That was when I was a real little kid. Other than that, I just don't really know that I ever had thoughts of some dream job. I don't know. I did go to nursing school. It wasn't my choice. I was forced to do that. And I did not want to be a nurse. Nurses are great. I love them. I have a lot of favorite nurses at the hospital and all that, but it just wasn't what I wanted to do. And I did not finish. I did not complete that. Anyway, so, and then I ended up being a nurse at home for Elijah. So that kind of backfired on me. Anyway, okay, so yeah, I don't really know. A fun memory with Big Daddy. Oh gosh, everything we do together is fun. Let me think. You asked some hard questions. Fun memory with Big Daddy. when we were dating, okay, his daddy was a police sergeant, and the police station, the Monroe police station, had a house that had a swimming pool, and it was just kind of like a hangout house. It was, the walls had been, like, a lot of the walls had been knocked down on the inside, and it was just like big pillar post or whatever instead of the walls, so it would open it up to a large area, and they had like pool tables and things like that. And so we used to go out there and swim at night a lot, and we would take friends out there with us and just hang out and just have fun because nobody was there at night. And he had got a key to that place from his dad, and sometimes his brothers would come and hang out with us there. And so yeah, we just would have fun doing that. So that's a good memory. That was a place where we spent a lot of our dating time. Oh, let's see. Why did we homeschool? Well, originally we started homeschooling because Big Daddy worked he worked in a plant, a paper plant, and he worked evening shift a lot. And that meant he would not see Dakota because he would be working like 3 to 11, and Dakota would be at home at that time. And when he would be awake and up, Dakota would be at school. And that just broke his heart to, realize that I'm not even going to see him for like the whole week I'm working the evening shift. And so that was part of the reasoning. Part of the reasoning was just I didn't want to send him to school. And I, told Big Daddy, I just didn't want to send him to school. And so we didn't. And it was fine. So yeah, that's how we came to homeschool. Let's see. Big Daddy's favorite item that I have crocheted. He likes he's very supportive. He likes all my items that I crochet. I don't know that he really has a favorite. He will say sometimes, like, that is really impressive that you were able to do that, and he but I don't know that he's really got a favorite. Maybe my squirrel that he named Ziggy. He really liked Ziggy's tail because I brushed out that yarn. And if you watch a video, if you want to find that video, you can just look up crocheted squirrel, brush yarn. There's several videos on Ziggy. There's a few videos on that. If you ever want to know if I crocheted something, you can search any YouTube channel, like go to my channel, and then somewhere on that screen is going to be a little magnifying glass looking thing. You can click on that. It's a search thing. You can click on that and then type in whatever you want to search. Crocheted octopus, and any video I have done about a crocheted octopus will come up. So anyway, so I would say maybe my big octopus, maybe my frog, that had the tedious toes. I don't know. Maybe the duck I made him. Y'all remember the duck, crocheted duck for Big Daddy? That I just like to never got done because I didn't want to do it. I'm not one for people telling me what to do. It's probably why my kids didn't go to school, right? Anyway, going on to the next one. Do I ever cook for Big Daddy? No, I don't. I can't handle pots and pans and plates and stuff like that. I can't pick them up and I drop them. You don't know how many dishes I have broke just trying to wash dishes or put dishes in the dishwasher. I broke so many dishes. Big Daddy asked me to not to do that anymore. Not to try to wash dishes or dishwasher or anything like that into the dishwasher at all, because I can't grip onto things to hold dishes, or even when I'm trying to eat something with a spoon. I usually hold a spoon or fork or something like this, and I'll drop it a bunch of times and I have to get it and put it back in my hand, right? Sometimes I try to use this hand, but this hand is actually my weak hand. I know, and Big Daddy still doesn't get that, even though I've told him many times before. He'll see me doing something with this hand, and he'll say, use your good hand. I'm like, this is my good hand. This hand is horrible. It is numb. It has tingling pain throughout this hand. The whole hand feels like it's covered in Scotch tape. This is my bad hand. This is my good hand. Big Daddy still don't get it, and he lives with me. So anyway, no, I don't cook. I used to cook. Yes, I used to cook for the family, and Dakota cooked at times. There was Elijah cooked. I really had the best of the both worlds with my kids, because Elijah loved to cook meals. He loved to fix casseroles and stir fries and just different things like that. He was a great cook. Elijah, that was Elijah. Dakota is a baker. He's always baked, made breads, cakes, any kind of sweets, cookies, all that kind of stuff that we didn't really need. But Dakota loved making all that kind of stuff. So he was always cooking up something yummy. And Elijah cooked up wonderful meals. But Dakota didn't eat Elijah's meals because Dakota's vegetarian. Now Dakota did cook meals too. Sometimes he would cook things and he would, get him a portion out before he added meat to it. Same way with Elijah when he cooked. But then some things Dakota would he would make himself like a tofu meal or eggplant meal or some kind of mushroom meal, and I do not like mushrooms, never have. So both my boys cooked all the time, but I cooked too, and I had recipes, and sometimes Elijah will ask me, like, hey, what was that recipe we used to make? So I have a recipe up on a shelf up here. I have a tin box. It's real pretty decorated, and it just has index cards in it where I've just jotted down recipes over the years. And then we always grocery shopped every 2 weeks because that was Big Daddy's pay schedule. So I did a menu. I had menu notebooks. Let me see if I just have an old one up here. I haven't done like a weekly menu in a very long time. I guess since I quit eating. I was just looking up here real quick to see if I had an old menu book. But I did find where I stuck some crochet books. Okay, I did look to see if I could find one of my old menu books up here on the shelf, but I did not see one. But I would basically just use a composition notebook, and I'd draw out lines on it to separate the days, and I would just plan out meals for 2 weeks, and I would make my grocery list from that, and we would go buy groceries. And I'd also, buy things for breakfast and lunches, just things to keep on hand. And on the refrigerator, I had did some a cutout thing of a mason jar, and I wrote breakfast on top of one of them and wrote down some ideas for breakfast, because you're on your own for breakfast, and so the kids could look up there if they couldn't find something or think of what they wanted. They could look on that list. And I did the same thing with a lunch, and those are still on our refrigerator today. But anyway, so I did used to cook when the kids were little, but Dakota started cooking when he was 4. Yeah. He was a vegetarian, so we were having to, fix us something to eat and then fix him something different. And so I was like, no, we're not doing this. And I said, Dakota, we're only going to cook one meal. If you don't eat what we eat, then you're just not going to eat. I said, or you can just cook your own meals. And he said, okay. And he started cooking his own meals. Yeah, he was 4 years old, and he would make grilled cheese sandwiches in the toaster oven. That's all he was allowed to use, was the microwave and toaster oven at that age. And he started coming up with different meals he wanted to make and stuff like that. And so he just went with it. So when he was little, I would tell him, I'm fixing dinner. It'll be ready in about an hour. So if you want to get yours going, whatever you're fixing, it needs to be done about this time. And yeah, and he would go to the library and get cookbooks, kids' cookbooks and stuff. And then he would make his list to go to Walmart and get groceries. It was the cutest thing ever, but it was also like a little bit amazing, like, what? I never expected this. Anyway. So the next question is, what size will this blanket be? I have no idea. Whatever size it is at the end of the month. Or if it gets to a certain size and it's going to be way too big, I can just stop at any time. So I don't know how big, what size it's going to be. We'll find out at the end of the month. I hope it's big enough for a human, which I think it will be. Anyway, the next one is, where did the intro music for my video come from? Well, and she guessed right, Dakota did that. And I think it's a free video, free music on YouTube. I don't know the name of it or anything like that, but Dakota did do that for me. When you do YouTube videos, you're very limited to just YouTube music. If you use something that's not YouTube approved, then you get strikes for it, and you don't, get monetized on that video. So you're limited. Like on Instagram, you can use any music, and it's okay. But on YouTube, it's not. Okay. How did we come to live in the middle of the WMA? And do we own or rent? We own our home. Big Daddy had family that lived out here. And before this wasn't WMA, Wildlife Management Area, it was rice fields and soybean fields. And so it was just farmland around us. Like long years ago when his granddaddy lived here. And so his granddaddy built this little shack, and then built in the 1940s, and then he built more onto it probably in like the 60s, and maybe some in the 70s. And then we came along and just gutted that little shack out and rebuilt the inside, and then over the years we've added to it, built onto it. We ended up building a huge playroom and 3 bedrooms off of that onto it. So yeah, it's had lots of changes. And in the meantime, the farmland was sold off to WMA, Wildlife Management Area, and they just kept buying land out here until they have completely enclosed us. The land behind our house was family land. It was my brother-in-law's land. Jody's brothers had land back there from that was passed down to them, and they all chose to sell their land. They sold it to an uncle who passed away, and his children, they were all grown, but those ladies sold it to someone else, and then eventually WMA bought it from them. So we are completely, all four sides, surrounded by WMA land. And we're not mad about that. We're fine with it. We're fine with that. Somebody asked about these crochet hooks again. I did show these in yesterday's video. A lady named Tina made these. And I think on YouTube she goes by like Tina Camper Lady or Tina Camper, maybe some numbers. I'm not sure if she's on Facebook or what, but she may be. But anyway, she made those, and they are really good on my hands. I love these hooks. I use them all the time. I don't know if I crochet so much with them on camera. I don't know if I have or not, to be honest, but I do use those all the time. And I don't usually, when I take crochet with me out of the house, I don't take my favorite hooks, because if something did happen and I lost that bag or whatever, I don't want to lose my favorite hook. So I don't take those with me out of the house. I use all my crochet hooks. I mean, I'm not just like, have one certain kind that I use and that's all. It depends on the project. It depends on the yarn. Some yarns feel better on some of these hooks that, you know, you sometimes see across the top of my desk there. And sometimes I'll just start crocheting with a yarn and then I'll switch hooks, you know, same size but a different brand hook. And I might do that 3 or 4 times before I find the yarn that feels the best with, not the yarn, the hook that feels the best with that yarn. So I do use all my hooks. It just, some are meant for certain yarns and some are, you know, not. I'm not a hook snob or a yarn snob either, y'all know that. I just use whatever feels right at the moment. Okay, somebody asked, did I finish that shark? No, I did not. I did need another thing of that big twist cuddle yarn. I've been checking on it. I checked online. It was not available online. I have checked at Joann's when I went to Shreveport the last 3 or so times. I checked to see if they have any. They have the light gray and the charcoal gray, but they do not have the medium gray. So, my little friend Zeke's mom was going to Alexandria, Louisiana today, and so she texted me and said, hey, I'm at Joann's. What is that gray that you need? And so I took a picture of it and sent it to her, and I told her they don't have it online anymore, so they may not be going to carry it on anymore. And she checked, and they had light gray and charcoal gray, but no medium gray. So I don't think they're going to carry that anymore, and I don't know what to do, because I need to make the fins and the very end of that. I guess the fins. I need to make the fins. So I don't know. So I haven't finished the project. I have it just sitting there staring at me. every time I walk past it. But I was hoping that I'd eventually find that yarn, the Big Twist Cuddle medium gray, but they don't have it online, and they do not have it in the Shreveport Joann's or the Alexandra, Louisiana Joann's. You're kind of in the way. Hey. Sassy. You're kind of in the way, girl. She's like, I don't really care. Oh, the next one was asking about the weather. They said they were getting rain this weekend. We are going to have rain Saturday and Sunday. A lot Saturday and hopefully not as much Sunday. But yeah, our ground out here is never going to dry up. And the Bayou Lafourche is full. And we always keep an eye on that bayou because it determines floodage and stuff. So we keep an eye on that, and it is full right now. So it does not need a lot of rain. That what's in it needs to float on down south, down to Columbia. I hope they have the locks and dams down there open so the water can flow, but I don't know. We did have a few days this past week of sunshine, and it felt really good. Phoebe laid on the doorstep some with the sun shining on her. And that'll just lead into another question. Someone was asking about, worrying about animals, like a alligator or whatever, getting Phoebe. And then they mentioned hawks. When she goes out to potty, she just goes out and potties and comes back to the doorsteps. Sometimes if it's sunny, she'll lay on the doorsteps, but it's a porch, so nothing can really, get her. She's up on the doorsteps, and there's a roof over her head, so she's good. I keep an eye on her. But at night, if I hear owls hooting out there, I won't let her out. I'll tell her to use her puppy pad in the bathroom, and I won't let her out if I hear an owl. Okay, so let's see. Have I ever designed a crochet? I think they asked about mermaid. I just wrote doll down. I think they specifically asked about a mermaid. I have crocheted, I think my first mermaid doll I crocheted was from Stringy Ding Ding Olive. She has a real easy crochet mermaid, and so I made her mermaid doll a couple of times. And I'm one that once I make something from a pattern, the next time I make it, I'm just liable to just do whatever. I kind of go off on my own. Not that I think I'm doing it better. I just get to crocheting and I don't look at the pattern, and I just do whatever I want to do. So I wouldn't say I designed, but you could say I just did my own thing. Like I had the gist of how to do it, and I would just do whatever. But Stringy Ding Ding, she does have great patterns. She does, and she has a book. All the Fish in the Sea. No, I don't remember the name of it. And it's too high on a shelf for me to reach. But anyway, you can look her up online. Stringy Ding Ding. I don't know why I can't get that out. Okay, so going on from there. Somebody asked, did I finish that Christmas blanket? It started out a Rana, and then I changed it to a Christmas blanket because I decided I wasn't going to wear it. And I did finish it off as a blanket, and I think it's in a box in there. So yeah, I finished it. I don't know if maybe I didn't ever show it. I don't know. You know, I've went through so much sickness here from the end of last year. Well, I guess it started kind of mid-summery. My life just took a turn. Maybe from autumn on, and I just had really a rough time. And so I don't know, I wasn't making that many videos, and I don't know what I did show on video and what I didn't show. If you see Sissy, she's looking because she sees Sassy, I'm sorry. Sissy's on the piano, and she's playing with a cat toy that Diane accidentally sent me. And, Sassy's like, wait, what are you doing? Are you playing with that toy without mine? That's my toy. Why are you playing with it? That's what Sassy's thinking. Okay, let's see. Okay, somebody was asking about my crocheting journey. Okay, I started crocheting in 2019. I started loom knitting and playing with yarn at the end of 2016. Sometime in there, our house had flooded and we lost everything. I lost all my art supplies. And once we kind of got back in our house, I didn't have nothing to do. I didn't have my art supplies, and I didn't have my junk, you know, that I fooled around with. And one day we were in Walmart, and I just picked up some yarn. No, first I saw this loom, and I thought, I wonder if I could make a scarf with that. And it was on clearance for $3. Dakota said, well, get it. And so I looked at the yarn, and I found some yarn for about, you know, $2 and something. I said, well, it's not a big investment if it's something I don't like. I didn't invest much in it. Now, prior to this, I used to hang out at like IHOP and different places like that. My friends and I would hang out, and they would crochet while we sat and chatted and talked, and everybody kind of do their own thing while we just sat there and for hours upon hours upon hours visiting. And we usually did this like once a week. And Shalita, hey Shalita and Noah, they used to live here, but they moved to Florida. But Shalita does watch my YouTube videos, her and her son Noah. And so Shalita would just crochet, and I would watch her, but I had no desire whatsoever to play with yarn. Like, that was not my thing. I didn't want to learn it. Shalita tried to force me to learn to crochet, and I was very resistant. And that was back when I had all 10 fingers, I believe. Yeah, she tried to do that when I had all 10 fingers. And I was very resistant because I didn't want to play with yarn. And yeah, here, look at me now. Look at me now, Shalita. But yeah, that's my journey. I didn't want to do yarn, so I didn't. But I would sit there with my friends while they did. I knew nothing about crocheting. I learned from YouTube, Gina Lay on YouTube, and she was a loom knitter also. But anyway, going on to how did you know that you would be good at homeschooling your children? Well, I didn't know, and I still don't know. As a homeschool mom, I always questioned myself. Am I doing the right thing? Are they learning? which I knew they were, but you question yourself as a homeschool mom, or as a mom in general, right? You question yourself. Did I handle that right? Did I do this right? Oh my gosh, am I screwing up my kids? Well, probably, but it's okay. Yeah, I never felt like I was doing the right thing. I just know that that's what my journey was, and we went with it. Oh, there was hard days. There was days the kids cried, I cried. There was days where I would just like, put your stuff away and go outside. Go get in the van, let's go to the park. You know, I mean, there was days where we just had to put it down, go do something else, pick it back up the next day. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like an easy ride. By no means. It was some struggling days. Some days were great and wonderful, but there was probably more bad days than it was good days, to be honest. Because teaching kids math, when you're not strong at math and they're not strong at math, that's hard. I will say I think Elijah might be the best at math, because he can do, but he won't show his work. He can do mental math, and he can figure out difficult math problems and get the right answer, but he can't show his work on paper. So yeah, that's where we butted heads. But yeah, it wasn't like I thought I was doing the right thing all the time. I mean, there was some days where I'm like, oh yes, I nailed it. And then there was days like, I'm screwing up my kids. Am I doing the right thing? And so we would have Mom's Night Out. The first Thursday of every month, we would have Mom's Night Out. We would all meet up at somebody's house. Lots of times it was here. And we would all take finger foods, or, you know, simple chips and dips and snack foods and stuff, and drinks, and we would all just sit around and eat and talk about homeschooling and curriculums and, you know, just whatever was going on in our lives. And those days really recharged me. It did all of us, and half the time we were all like, okay, let's not do school tomorrow, let's all meet at the park. And so the next day we would just meet up at the park and do our, you know, let the kids play and continue our talking and stuff, and then start back school the next Monday or something. So yeah, as a homeschool mom, you question yourself. But I think as a mom in general, I don't know any moms, none of my mom friends thought they were just awesome and doing it all right. I think we all questioned ourselves, and I think that is totally normal to question yourself. If you don't question yourself, then you don't know you have a problem. I think most moms question themselves and want to know, are they doing the right thing? There's some animal walking into the yard. Oh gosh, it's a big old is that a raccoon or a dog? Oh, I ain't sure what that is. No, it's bigger than a raccoon. It's a dog. I hope nobody dropped off a dog. No, I've seen this dog before. It's a black and white border collie. It's mostly black. Here comes his friend. Yes, it's a pack of dogs. I'll open the, if they stay or come back, I'll end up opening the door and screaming at them, and they'll run off. And I cannot let Phoebe outside when there is an animal, another dog or something out there, because she thinks she's big and bad, and she will try to fight the dog. And I don't know if that dog's aggressive or not. Most likely not. But Phoebe is aggressive. And if she tries to jump on that dog and it wants to defend himself, well, she's tiny, and those are border collie sized dogs. But they just ran off. Something spooked. One of them came up by the door, and one of them stayed in the middle of the front yard, and something spooked the one that came up to the house, and so it ran off, and the other one ran with it. But we do get a lot of dumpy dogs out here. That's so sad. And sometimes we have to call the shelter to come pick up dogs that have been dumped, because we can't tend to more animals. Me and Big Daddy are doing good to tend to what we got and us. we don't need, you know, to add more animals into what we're doing. So we have to call the shelter, animal control, to come pick them up. But I always post about them to our community group and see if anybody wants to claim the dog, or if anybody just wants the dog, if it's not claimed. And we have found homes for dogs that way. But anyway, going on, let's see. Does Angela help me with my feeding or medications? No, that sorry woman don't help me do anything. Y'all know Angela watches all my videos. That sorry woman, she don't help me do anything except throw me under the bus. She threw me under the bus today to her brother. But no, she works a full-time job. She gets off work, she goes straight home and tends to her dogs, and she is there. She goes to sleep she works the graveyard shift, 12 a.m. to 8 a.m. because that's the hours that she chooses to work, because she likes to work by herself and not with other people. And so she usually goes to bed about 1 o'clock every day, and then gets up around, I don't know, different times, but she's usually up around 9 or 10 at night. And she leaves her house at like 11:30 and goes to work and repeats that every day. So no, she don't help me. Okay, somebody asked, how do you not get depressed? Well, I never said that I don't. Some days are rough on me, mentally, emotionally. This past week, I spent a couple days crying. Like, major, just laying in the bed, squalling my eyes out. I was sick, I was in pain, I was just really down. I do have down days. Not a whole lot, but you know, sometimes you just need a good cry and then get up, pull up your big girl panties and do what you gotta do. So that's what I did this past week. I had 2 days where I just felt really bad and frustrated. I wouldn't say, I don't know that I was depressed, but I was frustrated with my situation. We'll say that, okay? And so, yeah, I cried about it, and I squalled about it, and I prayed about it. I tried to figure out what can I do, and finally I said, okay, I just got to get up from here, pull up my big girl panties, and get back to my life. I don't want to ever just like stay in that mind state, you know, stay in that emotional thoughts. I don't want to stay there. It's okay to have a day or two like that, but then you just got to pull yourself up and not let that control you. Like, yeah, my situation sucks sometimes. It does. But my situation is not me. And I can do all things through Christ. And I know everybody that watches my channel is not a Christian, and that's okay. I love you just the same. I do. I love you. But I am a Christian, and I rely on my faith a lot, okay? And I don't know how I would get through this without God on my side, honestly. And without wonderful friends like you guys that pray for me. Honestly, that's what gets me through all this. So yeah, I would say that it's okay, you know, to have depressed days, or days where you're just emotional and you're not happy with the way things are, but then you got to figure out, like each time I have a little setback in my health, I have to refigure me. Okay, this is the new me. Last week I could do such and such. This week I can't do that anymore. Okay, is there a new way I can do that? Okay, maybe that's not the thing for me to do. What else can I do? You know, and find different ways to do things, or new things to do, and, you know, be happy about it and move on. So I try not to dwell on what I can't do. I try to focus on what I can do. I cannot do things that I could do a year ago. I've declined. I have. I certainly cannot do things I could do 10 years ago. There's, in my life, and with my hand situation, and just my health in general, not even talking about my hands, just talking about my chronic illness, my chronic pain, chronic fatigue, that stops me from doing things that I used to do. So I try not to focus on, oh, I can't do this, I can't do that. I used to could do this, but I can't do it anymore. I don't focus on that. I try to focus on what I can do. And so my motto has been not to focus on things I can't do, to focus on what I can do. Let me see, does this have a saying? No. I did a painting a few years ago. I did a painting where I traced my hand. I had one of my kids to trace my hands on a canvas, and I painted my hand. I can't remember what all fingers I had at that time. I know I had this finger, and I think I had that finger too. I was just missing this one finger on this hand. So I had them to trace, one of them traced my hands, and then I did a painting around that, and I put on there something about not focusing on what I can't do, but thankful or focus or something on what I can do. I don't remember my exact quote, but yeah. So it's not good to focus on the negative. Focus on the positive, and focus on what you can do. You know, and yours might not be the same as me, but I'm sure you have things that you can do in your life that you enjoy doing. So do those things instead of thinking about, oh, I can't do this anymore. Okay, does that make sense? And I'm just, you know, trying to give a little pep talk there and just explain to you how I get through it and how I focus. So that's what I do. Now, when my health is really screwed up, or I've had surgery, or I'm just in a flare-up and I can't do anything, I can lay in bed and pray for all my friends. And that's what I do, because that's all I can do to help people, and to do for somebody else is pray sometimes. So, and I do like doing for other people, you know, passing out crochet hats or scarf hat, not really crochet, but loom knit or machine knit hats and scarves and things like that. I love doing that, and sometimes I cannot do that in the wintertime, but I can still just pray for people, and yeah. And if you're not a praying person, then you know, just think about people. And if there's absolutely nothing you can do physically, try mental. What can you do mentally? And if it's, you know, read a book, read a poem, read your Bible. If it's watch movies, then watch movies. Enjoy that. Okay. And I hope that helped some explain things. And if it didn't, ask again in this video. In the comments below, feel free to ask again. Okay, so moving on. Oh, somebody asked, this is a great question. Somebody asked, do I have phantom pain or pain sensations in my amputations? Yes, I do. I mean, it's not so bad that like I can't do stuff and all that, but yes, sometimes pain will set in some of these fingers. And see, the thing is, I can feel those fingers. I mean, yes, the fingers are not there. I realize that. But I can feel these muscles and ligaments and stuff like that here, tendons or whatever is in there. I can move that, if you can see. So I can move these fingers, and a lot of times I reach to get something, and I'm totally bending those fingers trying to grab stuff. That is so aggravating. Like if I finally get bent over to pick something up and I reach with this hand and then I'm like, oh, I can't even pick nothing up with that hand, and I have to do with this hand, and this isn't my great hand, so it's hard too. But, so sometimes like one of these fingers will just hurt, and I'll just sit here and, you know, and just rub all my fingers and stuff. Sometimes I will feel like something is under a fingernail to a finger that's not even there. Isn't that just crazy? But I'll feel like something's under that fingernail, and so I have to get something, and I clean under each fingernail, like repeatedly. I'll just sit and just like, here, this is what I use. It's a loom knit thing. I'll just take this and I clean under all my fingernails, and I'll just do that like over and over again until that feeling goes away that there's something stuck under a fingernail of a finger that's not even there. I know, that's just, it don't make any sense, but I do that anyway, okay? I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, but it's what I do because I don't know what else to do. Okay, so somebody asked, what am I going to do for the border of this blanket? I hadn't thought about it. I don't know. Usually on granny stitch blankets, I don't really do any kind of special border. I just end it. Sometimes I would do, like if I wanted to do a gray border on this, I would do like 3 rows of that and call it my border. I don't know. I have a book on borders, so I could pull that down and look at it, or I could just not do a border and just end it in like gray, probably. I don't know. We'll see. But no, I have no plans. This project's not planned out. It's whatever strikes me at the moment. Okay. That's what I'm doing, guys. That's the way I crochet. Whatever I feel like doing that day is what I do. Okay, musical instruments. So they wanted to know if me or Big Daddy or our kids played musical instruments. Well, in junior high, I tried to play the saxophone, and I think the band teacher Mr. Brothers. I think he asked me to quit. Yeah. I could not play that saxophone. Well, first off, it was my sister's old saxophone. She played the saxophone, and it was old. It needed pads. It didn't work right. It had issues. It was bent. Mr. Brothers finally told me that I needed a new instrument. I couldn't get a new instrument, so I just had to quit. But yeah, I didn't learn to play it. I blew on it. But it's not anything anybody would have wanted to listen to. My sister played the piano in church growing up. She was the pianist. And then she played the saxophone. I got nothing. My brother could play any instrument. He could pick it up and instantly play it. Okay, Big Daddy, I think he played around with guitar some, maybe played around with drums in church some. But he never like actively just, had an instrument that he played. Dakota did not have musical talents. He's like me. He's more artsy type stuff. Elijah can play any instrument he picks up. Seriously, he plays piano, guitar, banjo, mandolin, violin, some kind of flute thing. It's a Zelda. It's a round thing like this. It's a flute. I was about to say the name of it and it slipped me. He can play clarinet. The big thing that sits on the floor. It looks like a big, huge violin. What is the name of that? He has a purple one. Saxophone. He can play anything. If he picks it up, he can immediately play the Star Wars theme music on it. He had a major surgery when he was about, I don't know how old he was, 15 or so. He had a major surgery that was about a 10-week recovery. That's when he took his feeding tube out, and it didn't close up on its own, and they had to go in and close it. And so they had to scrape his stomach off of his abdomen, separate the two, because when you have a feeding tube, the tube pulls your stomach to your abdomen wall, and it grows there. And so they had to go in and basically cut his stomach off of that and stitch his stomach up and just do a bunch of stuff like that in there. So he had a long recovery, and then he didn't heal correctly, and he had open wound, and it was a nasty mess. And so anyway, we knew this going in, that he was going to have this recovery. And so Dakota and I decided to get him a violin. And so we bought him a violin and presented that to him when he had his surgery. And so that's what he played around with, and he learned to play the violin. He taught himself how to play the violin. He's never had a musical teacher. Oh, Dakota did take some guitar lessons when he was a kid, and he might have took some piano lessons when he was little, but nothing stuck. Like, it wasn't his thing. Elijah never had lessons, but could play anything. And so, he learned to play that violin, and I love to hear him play his violin. I love to hear him play anything. One day, I traded some artwork that I did with somebody for a keyboard. And so they brought this keyboard out here, and we were going somewhere that evening. Elijah said he wanted to stay home and play on that keyboard, and so me and Dakota and Big Daddy went to town. We might have went grocery shopping or something. I don't know what we did. And we got home, and Elijah was playing the keyboard like he'd been playing his whole life. So, yeah, we ended up getting him a baby grand piano that's here in the parlor that I wish wasn't here in the parlor. But one day he might be in a situation where he could take it and have it moved to wherever he lives. But yeah, he can play any instrument. He and my brother both have that gift. Me and Dakota did not get that gift, but we're more artsy. And I don't know what Big Daddy is. He can draw. Big Daddy can draw really well. He just doesn't do it. And he writes. I don't know if I've ever said that. He writes stories. He used to be published in a magazine here. He's had some stories published in different magazines, and he had a monthly story he did in a magazine here. But I don't know, his job took a different direction or whatever, and he didn't have as much time to devote to that kind of thing, and so he hasn't done that. He still writes all the time. He tells me about different stories he's wrote, but he doesn't have them published anywhere. One time, the kids and I, for Christmas, he had wrote a book about 2 trees. It's kind of a true story, but wrote in a kid book form. And so Dakota went and illustrated the book. We did this for him for Christmas. Dakota illustrated it, and we had it put into a hardback bound book for him. And we ended up doing that for all his brothers also. He had 3 brothers, 2 older brothers, then him, and then a younger brother. His youngest brother is the same age as me. And we ended up, that's what me and the kids did. We got him one, and we loved it so much. And it was a story about his grandparents or great-grandparents. I don't even remember. But they were trees instead of humans. And so we decided we would just do that for all his brothers too. So we gave him his first. And he cried that we had turned that into a book for him. And then we gave his brothers their books. So that was a little more than you asked for. That was like a little bonus there. And I won't even charge you for that. Okay, moving on. Do I buy yarn online? I have in the past. I really prefer to go to the store and look at the yarn. Probably because I don't get out a lot. And I just like to get out sometimes, right? I like to feel the yarn. Now, I have bought yarn online. And if somebody, recommends a yarn and I have a feeling that I would like that same yarn, I would buy it online. I order from Premier Yarn a lot, and just different things like that. But yeah, I do buy yarn online if need be. It's not something I just do all the time, but yeah, I do sometimes. Somebody asked, have I ever been to Canada? No, but I would love to. Are you inviting me? No, I would love to visit Canada. Probably not in the winter. I mean, I think it would be beautiful to see all the snow up there, but I know that with my Raynaud's, and health conditions, I wouldn't be able to handle that. I would just die. I would. I don't know how you people up north deal with snow and ice and such cold weather. We just nearly die if it gets, you know, near freezing temps. And I know that Mad Mimi, Laura up in Alaska will be posting about how the negative numbers. I'm just like, oh my gosh, I don't know how you do it. Like, how do you even live like that? But I know people do it. We're wimps. Somebody asked about, oh, how's Elijah doing? He is doing great. He got a job. He had a job already that he could work remotely. So he did that for about 2 weeks, and then he found another job while he was there. The lady he was working for remotely, he basically was on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for her, but she did not adjust pay for that. And that was very unfair. So he just found another job right away. He's good at finding jobs. Like, he'll never be without a job. I'm saying that. I mean, you know, he's always been able to find a job. So he has a good job. He is making some, you know, really decent, good money up there. He loves hot springs. He loves the beauty of the state. So he's doing good. Yeah. And are we going to visit him? Yes. When it warms up, we will. I'm not going up there when it's cold. I'm just not. I cannot go when it's so cold. But this spring, yeah, we're going to go visit him. We're probably going to take Dakota with us, so the three of us can go up on a... My plan is Dakota gets off work on a Saturday at 4. He could go home, do what he needs to do. We would be there, you know, to pick him up, and we would go up there, get a hotel, visit Dakota, and that's all on Saturday night. And then on Sunday, visit Elijah, I meant. And then Sunday, hang out with Elijah all day, and, you know, do whatever, let him show us around and just enjoy visiting with him, and then drive back home that Sunday night so Big Daddy could go to work Monday morning. Or Big Daddy could take a vacation day, because Dakota is off on Mondays. He's off on Sunday and Monday. And we could even spend another day, but most likely not, because we would have animals at home that would be okay one night, but not 2 nights, not unless we made prior arrangements. So, yeah, we do plan to visit him, but when it warms up. Okay, and this is a repeat question, but somebody asked, how do you keep your spirits up? And do you ever despair? Yes, yes, yes. But I don't stay there. Right? I don't stay there. Okay, somebody asked, are you ever going to visit your Ursula, or did you finish your Ursula? I'm going to finish her. I purposely kind of did not this past year, because I already had stuff I could put in the fair, and so I did not finish her, but now I can finish her, and she can be put in the fair this year. Okay, so I already had something for those categories, and you can only put one thing in per category. And so now if I finish her this year, I can put her in the fair. So yeah, that's my plan, is to finish her off and put her in the fair. So sorry about that, but yeah, that's my plan. Do I like solid or variegated yarns? I like both. It depends on the project. But I do love variegated yarns. Like, I like making plushies with variegated yarns. I just like the look of that. I like, I I don't know. I mean, solid colors are okay sometimes for like a teddy bear or elephant or whatever it is. But then sometimes, if there's the right variegated color, it looks really cute too. So, and sometimes variegated yarns will just look like something to me. And I'll just be like, yep, that needs to be an elephant. Or something like that, you know? I just let the yarn speak to me. And so they went on to ask, what color of yarns do I like? I like all colors of yarn. I really do. I don't have yarns that I shy away from. Or that I refuse to use or anything like that. I do like bright colors in variegations and solids. I like bright colors. I'm not very much on autumn colors or fall colors, muted browns, colors like that. I mean, I use them. I'm not saying I don't. I do make projects with those, but that's not the colors that I'm drawn to when I'm standing in Hobby Lobby looking at the yarn wall. I usually go to like the yellows and turquoise and whatever bright colors is there staring at me. That's what's going to pull me in that direction. Okay, somebody asked, are me and Big Daddy going to do any more of those boxed food videos of the boxes of food from other countries? I don't know. They haven't reached back out to us. I did stop and did not get a box after I had dental surgery. I was just going through way too much to even open the box, much less try to do anything with it. So, I don't know if they reach back out to us or not. It depends. But I did pause it for the time being of that. But anyway, but we did enjoy doing those. We really did. Okay, let's see. Somebody asked about, do I have siblings? I had a sister that was 6 years older than me. She passed away in 2020, in January of 2020. January was kind of an emotional, hard month for me at times, especially the week of her birthday was January the 15th, and her passing day was January the 17th. She died 2 days after her birthday. So that was kind of an emotional week. I thought about her a lot that week. Now, growing up, she was mean. And she was mean to me. I was 6 years younger than her, and so she was mean to me. But as adults, we were really close, and when we got together and done things, we were just like laughing, cackling, just having the best time. I can still hear my sister's laughter. So I do have lots of good memories of her and us as adults, but not so much when we were kids. And then I have a brother that is 13 years younger than me, and he's always kind of felt like my first child. I tended to him a lot. Whenever he was born, he was born by C-section, and remember, this was a long time ago. And so my mom had a C-section. I stayed at the hospital with her. She was out and slept that whole night. And the next morning, they brought that baby in there to me and gave him to me and left. And they probably thought I was older than 13. Like, they probably thought I was, I don't know how old, but they probably didn't realize I was only 13 years old. So, and my mom woke up and I'm sitting there holding her newborn baby. But I feel like I raised him. I've always felt like he was practically my first child. When Big Daddy and I started dating, he was about, I don't know if he was, I don't know if he was 3 or 4. I think he was 4 when we got married, so he was probably 3. And he loved Jody. He sat in Big Daddy's lap. He loved him, and he went on all our dates with us, just about everywhere we went. Cody was with my brother's name is Cody. My husband's name is Jody. Okay, that's just coincidence. But he spent all our time. He spent all the time with us as together and stuff. And he was really little, you know, in our wedding. He was about, I don't know if he turned 5 or if he was still 4. No, I think he was 4 and he turned 5 in December later. But anyway, he was a little guy, and he was the ring bearer in our wedding, and Jody's brothers were, you know, grown, and they were best men and stuff like that, or whatever they were. And my little brother looked up at one of them and said, "Will you hold me?" We had him spoiled. And then whenever we started to leave, he was getting in the car with us to go, and he was crying and hanging on, climbing in that car. And he said, "If I can't go, my sister can't go." I was crying and he was crying. Big Daddy's daddy had to come and pull little Cody out of the car with us, and I cried as we drove off because I hated leaving him. Yes. So anyway, and then somebody asked, do I still have reborn dolls? Yes, I still have my dolls, my bigger dolls. It's just hard for me to handle them nowadays, so I don't change their clothes as much and do as much with them. Like, I used to take them on outings and do videos of them or photos of them around town and stuff like that. And my hands just can't handle that anymore. So I have them dressed and sitting on shelves in my room. And I was just thinking about that this morning, actually. That I might just start featuring one every now and then. Dress that one doll up. Not try to dress, you know, all 100 of them. It's not really 100, but it would feel that way if I was trying to get them all dressed. But I might just pick one doll and focus, you know, on some photos of that doll and share that doll on a video or something, you know. Because I do have a lot of reborn dolls that I love and that, you know, are dear to me, have meaning. Because I started collecting those kind of dolls in 2020 when the pandemic hit. That's when I started collecting those dolls, and I got a feeding tube at some point after that, and those dolls they have a little meaning for me. Some of them do and some of them don't. It just depends if I kind of bonded with that doll or not, and that kind of sounds weird, I know. But sometimes the weird things gets us through life, okay? And remember, if it ain't weird, I don't like it. Alright, so that's all the questions that I went through and found and wrote down. And I hope I didn't skip any. If you did have a question and I somehow skipped over it, please ask that question again in the comments, and hopefully I will get it. There was one question that I purposely did skip. It was a family question, and it was asking about a certain, you know, person or whatever, and I did skip that question because I'm not going to talk about that. But that's okay. I don't blame you for asking the question or not. It's okay that you asked. It's just something I'm not going to talk about. But anyway, again, this ended up being a long video, but I hope you had a project to work on, and I hope you enjoyed our visit. And I did get 3 rows on this blanket. I did this darker pink, this fuchsia, and I'm on this purple, and I'm almost to the end where I would connect for that round. So I'm going to do that and stop. I'm going to go ahead and finish this off tonight. And then tomorrow when we come back, I'll work on the white and the variegated and a gray. And then after that, I think it's going to get random. So after the weekend, I'll be just doing random colors. And I'm probably going to just go ahead and make up balls. That way I won't be controlling how far around I do on the colors, you know. I don't want to control it. I want to just let the yarn do what it's going to do. So that's my plan, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. I enjoyed answering these questions. I so much enjoy reading your comments. Y'all leave such sweet, sweet words for me, and that's probably one of the things that do lift my spirits and keep me going is y'all, right? Yes, it is. Very much so. So anyway, guys, remember, it's a beautiful day to crochet. With this rain we're going to have tomorrow, it's going to be such a beautiful day to crochet. Well, it is pouring down rain. Alright, guys, I will see you all in the next video. Love you. Happy weekend.